Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my detailed foundation routine that I do in the wintertime when I'm very pale. So if you are excited to see this, go ahead and give it a like and keep watching. So I've already washed my face with the CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser, normal to dry skin. I normally have dry skin. And I have moisturized with the CeraVe Daily Moisturizing Lotion. I'll link these below. I've really been liking these here as of late, so I like to start out my routine with those. Having skin that's properly moisturized really contributes to the finish of your foundation when you're done. So very important step. I know a lot of people, the biggest place where they go wrong is they skip properly moisturizing first. So but I've already done those steps, so I'm going to start by priming my face. I always prime my skin before my foundation. Today I use different primers, but today I'm using the Makeup Revolution Pro Base Blur Primer Illumination Base, and mine is not a very good package because the tape peeled some of it off, but it doesn't matter. It comes with tape over the top of it. Go figure. Anyway, I really do like this primer, though. It does a really good job just smoothing out all of my pores and giving my foundation a good platform to sit on. So I'm going to start with this. And I get just a little bit. It's very clear. That's one pump. I usually need about 1 to maybe 1.5 pumps of this to completely cover my entire face. Try to pat that in on my pores, under my eyes. I sometimes use a separate primer under my eyes if I feel like I need some extra moisture under there, but this one does really well under my eyes as well. So I'm just using this. And I like this one as well because if you pay attention, unlike a lot of primers, the pump actually lets you get just a little bit out instead of having to get a whole other pump. And sometimes you don't need that much, so I don't like to waste the product. All right. And yes, I apologize. My nails look absolutely terrible. I haven't gotten a chance to redo them yet, so I haven't. So you just got to see that they look bad, but hey folks, this is real life. Alrighty. So I've primed. Now we're going to start with, actually I'm going to color correct next. I always have dark circles under my eyes. Doesn't matter how well rested I am, it's just the way I am. And I, as you can tell, have a tendency to be kind of pink around my cheeks, around my nose, my chin. I've also got this lovely pimple that I need to cover up. So I'm going to try to cover those up here. So I'm going to do some color correct. I don't always color correct, especially if I'm in a hurry because this step takes a long time. So I may end up even still cutting this, but I'll try to leave as much of it in as possible because the intention of this video is to really show my general foundation routine, contouring and, all of that stuff. So I don't have to always put it in every single video. So I'll probably use this one to link a decent bit. But I don't always color correct, but since I'm demonstrating and since I do always have dark circles, I'm going to do that right now. So I go in with the, should show you the yellow, that's gonna focus, the yellow here. It's very good for countering the purple and blue tones that come in under eyes. Try to pat that. You like to be delicate on the skin under your eyes. You don't want to make problem skin worse. And the skin on your eyelids is actually the thinnest skin on your body. So it's the easiest to damage and stretch. And that's why we start getting lines around our eyes first. Isn't that great? Except for me. I apparently get them on my forehead first. It's because I scowl. Anyway, not the point. So I've color corrected under my eyes with the yellow. If you have really dark circles, you can, like if you have more bluish tone, you can go in with the orangey tones. I usually, for my skin tone, would do the lighter, but I very seldom have to use something this dark. Very seldom do I need a color to counter that much blue, but it does happen. So usually I just am fine with the yellow though. So that's all we're going to do for today. And I'm going to go in with the green, which is the other saving grace, because I'm pink and green is excellent for canceling red. So again, I don't do this every single day, but it really does help to get the most out of your foundation to color correct first. And you can see even putting on that primer helps the color correct spread and blend out. So hopefully you can see the difference between those two sides with the pink there. This chin, oh, this chin today. All right. There's a good one. And you can do this with a sponge. I typically prefer to do this with my finger because, I don't know, because I prefer to. But you can do this with a beauty blender or a small, like a small beauty blender sponge if you have one of those. But I tend to like to just use my finger. Lets me get around the nose piercing a little easier too. As of course that's still pink around there, so I want to blend that out too. Smear that. All right. So I think that looks pretty good. Not too over green or over neutralized, but except that tip of that nose. We're gonna work on that one there. All right. So now I've color corrected and I'm going to go in with my foundation. Today I'm using an oldie but a goodie. This is my L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Makeup Cool Tone in Natural Ivory. So this is tone C2. You can see that. This is tone C2. And I have a moistened beauty blender. Apologies, this one is about to have to be retired, but it's what I have, so it's what we're using. Again, this is real life. And sometimes I'll put my foundation, depending upon the applicator, directly on the sponge, as I do with this one, because this one's just a jar, there's no pump. And sometimes if I have a pump or something like that, I'll put it directly on my face and then blend it out. But it doesn't really matter, just as long as you blend it. Some people like to use a foundation brush. I haven't found a good foundation brush that I really like yet. So be sure I'll be using that just as soon as I find one of those. But as I haven't yet, I'm using my sponge. This is probably about a light to medium coverage foundation. It usually gives a pretty good finish. You can build it up, but I find that it gets a little cakey if you build it up too much. So if I'm going for a fuller coverage foundation, this is not typically one I would gravitate to, but I got all my color correct on and things today, so. And I like to just white out my lips. It doesn't really hurt anything because I'm going to put lipstick on here. Anyway. I do often store my foundation upside down. One, because I find, well, I store my foundation in my makeup in a drawer. And if I store it upside down, one, I can see the color better that I'm going for, instead of just seeing the label on the lid. But also, of course, the product drains to the bottom. It makes it easier to get it out. And how about you? But I'm always in kind of a hurry. I don't mean to be like that. It's just kind of the way my life works. So I don't have time to sling and dot and dab and ketchup bottle that mess trying to get it out of the bottle. I want it ready to go, and I am, so. Make sure that's good and nice and blended out. And as we can see, I do still have some definite dark circles under here, which we are going to use concealer to highlight and to hide. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, I make sound effects. All right. It's always hard to tell under these lights exactly how you've got everything done. I'm getting better, but it's a learning curve, folks. It's a learning curve. And my neck tends to be like supremely light. I don't know what it is, but like I think it's never seen sunlight before ever. So I tend to do my neck to match my foundation, or my neck to match my face rather than my face to match my neck, because I would literally be see-through, I think, if I made my face match my neck. So as long as they match, it, at least to me, seems like it looks just fine. So anyway, it's all right. I think that's should be enough foundation there. Close that up and move that off to the side. All right, now I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape. The color that I have is Fair. It is very light. I think this is the lightest shade. It is definitely only a winter color for me, but this is a winter foundation look for me. So I will have to get something darker than this for, you know, summertime when I get just a little bit less ghosty looking, but gobs. I do like this stuff though. Streak that out just a little bit. Draw that down. It's going to give us a nice highlighted look. It's going to give us a nice glow. It's going to keep us from having that crease line there as much. Ooh, that might be a bit much. Yeah. Find out, won't we? All right. A little on my nose, a little on my chin. And I use the back side of my Beauty Blender to do my concealer. I'm actually going to have to do just a little bit more concealer there on my chin, but I'm going to do that at the end with whatever's left from this, because I think I have some extra product. I'm going to pat that up to my forehead, but I don't want to add too many extra products to my forehead because I do have lines there. So I want to keep my products light across my forehead. I want to keep them matte, keep them from drawing attention to those lines. All right. All right, that's not bad. So it does blend out, so. And that is bright, and I like that. Now, I'm going to use a setting powder for all of this, And it does have a little bit of color to it, so this is all going to be just a little bit darker when I'm completely done. But this is the Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder in shade Lace. This is a baking powder. I think I said that. Yeah, this is a baking powder, so you can actually use this to bake under your eyes, but I've actually found it makes just a really great setting powder. I recently discovered this, and I'm still in love with it, although I do wish that it had a better applicator. You'll notice that the lid is very tiny. Usually with something like this, you would pour the foundation, or sorry, the powder into the lid and use that to dispense. You can't do that with this one because here's the size of my brush, here's the size of the lid. Obviously that's not going to work. So I've just been doing a little bit in my hand, tapping it in, swirling it around a little, mostly making a mess, but it does work. But I'm still looking for, I don't know, like a nice little bowl or something to do this with. The only complaint that I really have for this is that I do wish that it just came with something to put the powder in. That would make that a lot easier, but you can do this on like a clean sheet of paper as well. And I'm just going to set all of my foundation with that. I'm going to focus particularly under my eyes. All right, and I need a little bit more of that. And I'm making a bit of a mess. Always keep a cloth for your hands when you're doing your makeup. This comes in handy. A little bit more. Let's do that forehead. I find that I really do need to set my forehead, especially if I want those lines to not come out. Otherwise, pretty much every foundation I've ever tried will, over the course of the day, crease in that area because I have creases there. And, well, it's just how it works. So I'm going to finish powdering that. Set everything nice and smooth. A little in my eye. Powder. All right, and I'm going to take just a little bit on my fingers and go under my eyes and kind of just give that an extra coat. As I'm going, I really like to have extra powder under my eyes, especially if I'm using an eyeshadow product that I'm not terribly familiar with, or if I know that it has fallout, because a lot do, and I like to use bright colors, which makes that more of an issue. Oops, some lines there. There we go. And just kind of brush away any of the extra there. So I'm just going to use my fingers and feel around for any places that are still like tacky. Just kind of smooth that in there. I'm going to put on lipstick anyways. All right. So that's nice and smooth and set. And I've found that my foundation doesn't have any trouble lasting no matter how long I'm at work or how late I get home. It's still fine. So this seems to be working pretty well for me as far as holding up throughout the day. So we have done all of our liquid routine. I'm not a huge fan of cream contours. I do them occasionally, but I just find that they're an extra step, and I still usually end up going in with a powder over it anyway. So we're just going to stick with the powder for today. It's something that I would more likely do on an everyday basis. So I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Medium Deep Matte Bronzer. I know it's a bronzer. I really am in love with this thing, actually. It smells so good. It smells exactly like hot chocolate. So good. I know it's a bronzer, but it's matte, and I am very pale, as you can tell, so this makes a very good contour for me. So that's what I'm going to use this for today. Make our cheeks, sucker in our cheeks. So we know where to put that nice contour line. Oh, what a difference contour makes. And it's hard to do, but as you do this, unless you have a really, really, really symmetrical face, and if you do, I'm jealous of you, it's best to look directly ahead of you. I know the tendency is to want to go to the side, but it's easiest to get it even and falling where you want it to if you're looking directly ahead. If you can, you kind of have to have a bigger mirror for that, or otherwise you don't have enough real estate to see everything. So, but if you can, stay looking directly ahead, and you can get that more even and more refined. So I'm going to go in with the same product on a skinnier brush. I use this brush, you can't see that. I use this brush probably every day. This is a U-Spicy 27. They are a very cheap Amazon set that I found at one point. I only have a few of them, I think, that I gravitate to, but I have a lot of brushes. I have a lot of inexpensive brushes. I'm still building my high-end brush collection, but part of that is important. You don't want to buy a bunch of high-end brushes if you don't know what brushes you actually use every day. So I recommend start with a cheap set of brushes. Figure out which ones you actually use, how you like to do your makeup. Then as those wear out, find the better quality version of it and replace those. Don't bother replacing a whole bunch of stuff that you find out you're not going to use, because it's just going to be a waste of money. All right. So that is contour. What did I get for bronze? Okay. So I'm going to use my Smashbox contour palette. I'm a big fan of this one. I've had this forever, and it seems to do pretty well. I'm going to use the middle shade, which is just, we just go contour, bronze, highlight. Those are their only names, so I'm going to use the bronze shade. I'm going to use a flat brush. This is Little Mermaid, but I'm going to use a flat brush. I find that that lets me get a sharper line, because if I had real cheekbones, if I had real ones, I could use, you know, a more tapered brush, but I don't. So I'm going to draw them on, and I find that the flat lets me get a sharper line with that. So that's what we're doing here. I like to do a little bit around my hairline. Reasoning for that, I want still to highlight my forehead to give me that shape, but I don't want to put excess products on my forehead in particular because of those lines. So in shadowing around my hairline, it gives it that darkened effect, which makes my forehead appear brighter, relatively speaking. but I don't have to put any products on it directly to do that. For blush, today I'm going to go in with the Makeup Revolution Ultra Blush Palette. Then Sugar and Spice. What color do I want? I don't want anything too crazy today. So I'm going to just go in with this shimmer shade on the end here. And I'm going to do that with this domed brush here. These are very pigmented, so they are one that I really do like, but you do have to kind of be careful with them. I'm going to put that just on the apples of my cheeks. Blow off any excess. Fade that in. The powdering also helps with the blending in of your contour and getting a more natural finish with that. I don't want to look like I have stripes of color on my cheeks. And finally, I want to do my highlight, but I like to do my setting powder before I do my highlight. I find that it lets the highlight stick a little and stand out a little more, and I like a lot of glow with my highlight. So I'm using the Makeup Revolution Pro Fix Illuminating Fixing Spray. I really like this stuff. I also have their Sport Fix, and I like it pretty well too, although admittedly I can't really tell a whole lot of difference between the two. After my powdering routine, they both hold up really well. My light seems brighter on this side because this is even in the mirror, the pinker over here. That's better. All right, setting spray, Makeup Revolution Pro Fix Illuminating Fixing Spray. Just let that dry down. And before it completely dries, I like to go in with my highlight. I'm going to be doing the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in Blossom Glow. And I'm going to be using the Morphe M510 for that. That's this one. Just a little bit above on my temples, tops of my cheekbones. Tip of my nose, bridge in my nose. Usually do a little more on the tip. Cupid's bow. I usually go in with a little bit more after I do my lipstick for Cupid's bow. And chin. And notice I'm going to make sure that I keep that below where I concealed that pimple, so I don't put shine on the top of that and bring that right back out. And that completes the foundation routine. So I'm back. I finished doing the rest of my makeup, so this is the completed look. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to keep up with all of my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.